Good morning. Good morning. It's Friday morning. Friday morning here in St. Louis, Missouri. It's the 18th of March. It's just a wonderful day. It's cloudy and miserable outside. How are you this morning? I don't even know if my microphone's working. I suspect it is because I can see it in the screen. I look good this morning. This is a newer shirt. I think I got this for my birthday or Christmas. I don't remember, but I like it. And I'm going to, I say I like it now, and in like 30 years when we take the video again and be like, this is the ugliest shirt ever. But anyway, I understand that. Anyway, how are you this morning? I think it's very important to reach out to my chat first in the morning because you know, you are the wind beneath my wings, as they would say. You keep me going. It's your inspired comments that keep me doing this every day, getting up, preparing for the show, and then producing the show on my own because of the chat, of which there are none of you, which is hurtful. But, you know, hey, whatever works, right? So we'll do the show with or without the chat. We'll do it. Oh, man. Friday, this week has gone by so fast. And it kind of ties into the live stream. And here's how. You know, I like the live stream, but I'd like it to be a little bit more chatty. Like I'd like chat. I'd like people to be watching live rather than watching later. Did I sabotage myself on some of the things that I've done so far? Yes, I did. What are some of the things I've done that have sabotaged my show? One, when I had my 60 subscribers on my Deerwood Realty main channel, I immediately went and did a new live stream channel, and then, if that wasn't enough, I didn't promote the live stream channel. So there's just nobody there. Now I got to check something because it should be working a certain way and it's not. Let's see. Let's look at a certain thing. There's one thing that can help me in this, figure out if I'm doing something wrong. Okay. So it's not me. All right, fine. Be that way. Normally have at least one viewer, and I don't have that viewer, and so it's irritating me. Should I get rid of the chat on the side of the screen? No, because someday somebody's going to come in and we're going to have a chat. We're going to be able to go back and forth. It's going to be fun. But right now, pretty terrible. Yeah, so I expect things to go poorly for a while on the live stream channel. So like if I can in a year get like 10 subscribers, I think that would be okay. My expectations aren't very high. I like to do this for a couple of reasons. One, I don't feel like a typical small real estate brokerage is being represented in real estate news. I always think it's biased towards the big franchises, and I think all the news is biased. And I'm not criticizing. I mean, does anybody really care about a small brokerage? Maybe not, but I want to get my voice out there because I think what we do is better for the people. I think it's better for the clients. Now that's my bias. I'm sticking with it. Feel free to clip that and put it somewhere, and it won't hurt my feelings at all. We are on our 19th consecutive live stream. And today's going to be tough for me. Let's try to put this in words. I have 3 showings today, 3 different clients, 3 different parts of town, and 3 different types of property. So this is going to be crazy. And as they're spaced throughout the day, I have significant concerns about doing a podcast. Now, what I want my podcast to be is something that I would like to do on my own, and that's a question, is the real estate market broken? And I mean, have you tried to buy a house? I mean, last weekend I put in an offer. There were 9 offers. And then there's another house that my colleague Jan was looking at, and they had 17 offers. You know, and it's what I'm saying is a lot of times the house will be priced really good, and then you'll just get this stupid, you know, selling for over asking, but it's not even close. So, you know, I don't know. If I do write one, it takes a long time. It takes me almost an hour to write it, and I have to produce it. And do I have an hour of time today to write it out? I just don't know. So we may not get a podcast today unless I can find an article or something that, you know, is of some interest, and I like to be consistent. I don't know if you've noticed that, but the fact that I've got 19 consecutive podcasts, and then I had that run where I had I think I had 69 was the top. I think that was the top. And then I had to go somewhere or do something, or I was sick, and I just didn't get the next one in. Anyway, today's a full day. Last night I did show a house, and I wanted to do a small showing report on that. In St. Louis, there's South City. In South City, I mean, I'll call it South City. Some people may differ with the exact location, but it's maybe 5 minutes from my house. You've got Ted Drew's on Watson, but it turns to Chippewa, I believe, in the city. The name of the street changes. It's the same street. Anyway, you've got that. You've got this thing called Candy Cane Lane, which is a road where at Christmas time, everybody in the neighborhood comes out and and puts out a light show, and you can listen to it on the radio as you're driving through. You can listen to the Christmas carols. I mean, really great community thing. And then there's Francis Park, which in St. Louis, at least in South City, there's beautiful, gorgeous parks. I think that's missing from our world now. I mean, I live in the county. They're building I believe, $700 million housing development across the street from me. It's going to have 3 stocked lakes and a wilderness trail or a walking trail, but it's not for the people. It's just for the people that live there. It's not for the whole. It's not like a park, basically. I value these city parks so much that my life will never be. My life will always be changed by the fact that I proposed to my wife in a city park to marry me. So I will not forget that. And this particular home was 2 blocks off of the park, Francis Park, and the price was not in this market. The asking price was not terrible. And the thing about this house that was, I would say what I think was great is it had a long period of ownership. I think the people had bought it in 2000, and the curb appeal wasn't perfect because they had these windows up top, and it looked a little weird. They were siding around the windows, and these houses were built in the 1920s, so it would not have been a vinyl siding at the time. But they were all new windows. And the house was very clean. The painting was marvelous. You know, I mean, it was just perfect. Now, how do I put this? If the house was built in 1920 and the people have maintained it, which the owners, you know, have maintained this home, there's no question, because there was no, what am I trying? So if someone has done that, someone has maintained a home and just kept it up, really there's nothing to do. I mean, the house was built in a gorgeous way in 1920, and that leads to one problem, and that is we think differently about space in a home. One of the main places we think differently is in kitchens. Many homes that were built in the 1920s are not set up for the kitchen of today. I mean, there's no space, first of all. That's the biggest problem. The space allotted isn't going to work. And so, you know, your refrigerator's huge. Your stove is huge. Oftentimes you have no exhaust for your stove. No room for a dishwasher. Not enough room for cabinets or countertops. There's not enough room for cabinets. There's probably not a pantry. And this house, as perfect as it was in every single room, had probably a 6x10 kitchen, and that's just not enough, even for a family, even for a couple, even for two people. Just wasn't enough. And the problem with this particular house is it had a lot of square footage. I mean, I think it was 1,600 square footage. Let me take a look. I have the sheet right here. I'm sorry, it had 19 square feet, 1,900 square feet. I mean, that's a nice size house. But the kitchen made up such a small portion of that it messed it up. And so, hey, there's nothing you can do about it. You buy this house and you accept that it's going to have a small kitchen. You really can't build like there was a bedroom on the other side of the wall for the kitchen. You could only really go back in the house, and then you're talking about they've got these cute porches on a lot of houses. What I would call like a 3 seasons room, but what it is really is when you walk from the garage, which is a detached garage in the back, to the main house, there's a room in between. It's a 3 seasons room. A lot of old ladies, old men sit in the back in the summertime and stare at the garage. But hey, they've made it that long. They're entitled to do whatever they want. Anyway, it's a good time. The house was great. I really wanted to write an offer on the house. I think my buyers would have liked to write an offer on the house as well. But how are you going to write an offer when you know the kitchen's not going to work? And not really, even if you spend a lot of money, you're not going to get where you need to get. This is my opinion. You're already up in the 4s, which I know it doesn't seem like a lot for some people, but you're in the 4s, and now you're going to $400,000. Now you're going to need to add a garage because it was only a 1-car garage and a kitchen. Not good. Not good. So I'm going to do something that is maybe out of character for me. I'm going to show you an article that is not, how do I put it? I'm going to show you an article that is not, I can't see it. It's locked out. I have to find it. I'm sorry. So it's locked out. You're not going to be able to see the article. I'm not able to see the article. I'm not interested in finding out what the article says because I have my own opinions and I don't need some article to tell me. So we're going to put that here. I just want you to be able to see it. And we'll go, I mean, like I said, oh, nice job. Nice job, man. Okay. All right. Here we go. So this was in what I would call a rather a daily publication about the real estate industry. And you've seen me use them before for articles and things like that. I disagree with this 100%, and I don't care what the person wrote. So you can see right there, it's locked. So it says Ukraine invasion is an ethical line in the sand for brands. Okay. So I'll go back to here. I disagree 1,000% with this article. I disagree with the headline, and I will discuss it with you now. I think one of the biggest problems is corporations are like elephants in the room. and they throw their weight around indiscriminately, and most of the time not to anyone's benefit. You say, well, how can that be? I mean, well, I just feel like there's a merger between the government and corporations that has gotten to be incestuous and not good for the American people. If you as a citizen have a strong view on the war in Ukraine, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, that's fine. And you should voice your opinion in the public square if that's what you choose to do. Okay, so to me, if you want to get on YouTube and say, I stand with Ukraine, or hey, maybe this isn't exactly as easy as we think it is. Maybe there's actually some layers here. You can say that. You should be able to say that. You should be able to go on your Facebook. You should be able to go on Twitter. You should be able to go on YouTube, because that is your public square. Like, that is your public square now. The problem with this is you're not allowed to do wrong think on these platforms. You're only allowed to do the government technology synthesis. You're only allowed to do that. Whatever the government says, that's what you put on Facebook. You will be penalized for your wrong think. So this is not the same as we should have a debate. And I want to be very clear here. I can have my own view and not have it be debated by anyone else. If I want to think that elephants are purple, I can do that. At least I could in America. Now, is that going away? Yes. Our freedoms are being infringed upon every day, more and more. But sticking to this topic, I should be able to, as a citizen, go and express my beliefs. Now, here's what's happened. Here's what's different in the world I live in now versus the world I might have lived in 20 years ago. Number one, I had no outlet for my disdain or desire to speak about a political issue. So I couldn't go to Facebook, that didn't exist or wasn't powerful enough. And what you would end up doing is going to like a group function, but you would all think the same way. So it's kind of like, Now it can be co-opted to something that it's not. The other thing that's changed is if I have wrong think, two things can happen to me in the public square. One, for instance, I'm a real estate broker. So my views could be not aligned with what the government and the right thinkers want. And therefore people could choose not to use me as a real estate broker, use me as a real estate agent because of my beliefs. Okay. Now, when you are in this business, you realize people will choose to use you for the way you look. Okay. If I'm 25-year-old female, I got a much better chance of listing a house for sale than 44-year-old bald man with a beard. That's just the way it is. That's how things are. You say maybe that's sexist. It shouldn't be that way. Well, it's the way it is. I'm not fixing that one. Okay. They can also sell pharmaceuticals, high-end watches. That, these women can do anything. But anyway, they could say, hey, we will not use you because of your beliefs. We will not use you because of your color. We will not use you because of some reason. And there's nothing I can do about it. Okay. So the difference there is I kind of know what I'm up against. Now, what has changed drastically is if you are a blue collar worker, if you go work in a factory all day, if you go, if you're let's just stay with, you're a service person. Okay. and you write something online, someone on the right think side will take your comments and report you to your employer, and they will beg and plead and demand you be punished, fired, and canceled from your position. Your ability to earn a living for your family will be taken away from you because of your wrong think. Now, it does get dicey. For instance, if you there was this story in Michigan where a principal was accused of sexual exploitation of minors. And many people said, well, he shouldn't be allowed to continue to be at the school. And I mean, that seems reasonable to me. But see, it's innocent until proven guilty, so I don't understand what maybe he could have a position where he wasn't dealing directly with children every day until this got sorted out. Because that's gross. We don't want that, or I don't think we want that in our classrooms. But anyway, this is what's changed. Now, what has oddly enough stepped into that vacuum of not being able to express your own thoughts or your own beliefs is the rise of the multinational corporation that parrots the talking points from the largest companies it does business with. And in many cases, that's China. So let's take the apparel manufacturer from yesterday. They're using slave labor. There's no question about that. But rather than talk about slave labor, they want to talk about societal ills in the United States, talking points directly from China. So when you say, hey, can you pay people a wage and not make them work in sweatshops? And they turn around and say, well, the United States has always been inherently racist, and you need to solve your race problem. And we will prop up those figureheads who promote this ideology so that we can move the conversation somewhere else. And oddly enough, in this day and age, if you are a malcontent, if you are someone who isn't as good at football anymore as you used to be, you can use that platform then to continue to rake in dollars long after your career has been over. And this goes on with everything. If we just look at Friday, or maybe last week, the president of Disney, who is totally in line with the Chinese country. I mean, it's gross. He was going to call the governor of Florida and really, really explain to him how he'd done such a horrible thing by passing a controversial law. It's controversial in that some people don't think it's a good idea. But if you thought it was a good idea, that would also be controversial. Everything can be labeled as controversial. Anyway, this corporation, the massive corporation Disney, comes down and says, hey, we think you did a terrible thing, and the governor says, go pound sand. And he said, okay. And then a couple of days later, there was some things in the media that didn't look real positive for these groups. Now, that's on a national level. Should a real estate brokerage brand, that is your Keller Williams, your Realty Executives, your Remax, Better Homes and Gardens, the Reality brand, so that's Coldwell Banker and all of those, should they come out in some sort of unified stance for Ukraine or Russia, or should they keep their mouth shut? If I were them, I would keep my mouth shut. Why? What are you adding to this conversation? How do you know? What is your main job? Your main job is to help facilitate the sale of real estate across the world. It is not to pontificate on political matters. I mean, if you think a serious injustice is being committed and you would lay down your life, which you don't have because you're a corporation, for this cause, then I can see. But what makes me even more disgusted is these people that implore major corporations, major brands to do things. It's like, shut up. Just, you can advocate for your position without irritating other people. In this case, look, Ukraine, Russia, very, very, very complicated situation. And you say, well, John, by bashing that article, you are in fact taking a stand on Russia and Ukraine. Well, if that's what you want to say, that's fine. That's fine. I don't think that major U.S. corporations, other than Raytheon or Boeing, any part of the military industrial complex, I think they should openly come out and say, hey, we really, really want war because we sell a lot of products that way. And then I think they should say, hey, we've bought off quite a few people over the years, and here's who, and here's how much money we've given to them, and here's how many things here's the things we've done to advance the military industrial complex. And we're very sad that we're not allowed to provide bombs and military equipment for Afghanistan. So if we can't do that, then can we at least do it in Ukraine? I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. So, again, I don't think that I'm speaking as a public citizen that just happens to have a real estate brokerage. You don't have to like it. To be honest with you, I don't, they say, well, you might not have any clients because of what you say. Well, you know what? Last year was terrible for me. I'm really not worried about it at this point. So, no, in fact, if anything, major corporations need to take a step back, and they really need to look at, hey, how do I sell more products? And how do I sell those in an ethical way? Now, that's very fascinating, because what if you're in an unethical business model? It's really, really high level, tough stuff. And I hope to be able to discuss these things with you on my new podcast when it comes out, my new live stream, and it'll be all about employment. I'm not an HR director, thank God. I'm just an innocent bystander, purveying the scene, and let's see what we come up with. So anyway, that was not intended to be a commercial for the new show. I have the research is coming in, but I have so much to do to get that up and running, and I'm behind. And I question the wisdom of starting another live stream when I've got one in the morning and I'm doing a podcast and I'm trying to get my media, so where you can see it. I'm trying to promote it. So doing a lot of things here, and I'm trying to sell real estate. So quite the day. Let's get into an article. Let me take you there. Google search this morning was a bit wonky because of the Final Four, not the Final Four, the college basketball March Madness. I used to love it, but I'm not. I didn't even fill out a bracket this year. So let's take a look at this article. It says, this is World Sleep Day, apparently. It says sleep myths that may be keeping you from getting a good night's rest. Now, I don't know if this is an article. I don't know what this is. It says, and I don't know when's the date? Okay, the date is Friday, March 18th, so it's this morning. It says, what are your sleep myths and facts? The things that are absolutely sure you should do and not do to get a good night's sleep. Studies show that most of us are practicing bad sleep habits without knowing it, which can lead to serious health consequences. How do your beliefs about sleep add up? I think this ought to be good because I'm terrible at sleep. And maybe it's my own fault. It says, myth or fact, you lie in bed long enough, you'll fall asleep. That's a myth. When it comes to sleep, no-nos, experts say this is a big one. Lying in bed, even with your eyes closed for more than 15 to 20 minutes, is one of the worst things you can do because it will train your brain to associate the bed with lack of sleep. It can lead to chronic insomnia. Fascinating. It says it's counterintuitive, but spending time in bed awake turns the bed into a dentist's chair. I don't know about that. You want the bed to be like your favorite restaurant where you walk and you start getting hungry even if you just recently ate. You want the bed to do that for your sleep. I don't know. I mean, I try to go to bed at a certain time, and then, I don't know why I wake up in the middle of the night for hours. But anyway, myth or fact, you shouldn't check your smartphone if you wake in the night. That's a fact. Banning smartphones or any device that emits blue light from the bedroom an hour or so before bed and all through the night is a must for good slumber. Light tells the body to stop producing melatonin, the body's natural sleep aid, and studies have shown that blue light is especially toxic to sleep. So when you get out of bed after 20 minutes of sleepiness, avoid bright light, watching TV, or checking social media. Instead, keep the lights dim or do something mindless, such as folding socks. Better yet, try one of these tricks to relax your mind and ready yourself for sleep. So before I go to bed, I check all of my work phones and my personal phone, and I check all the data on that, which is bad. And then when I wake up in the morning, I also check these things, and I'm not changing. Damn it if I don't get any sleep. How's that? Myth or fact, you shouldn't let your dog or cat sleep in your bed. Now, this is kind of funny. I think this is a cultural thing. So it actually depends. Not long ago, the answer from any sleep expert would have been a definitive no. But today, some sleep experts are seeing the benefits of cuddling in bed with a furry loved one, at least for a select group of people. Pets are making a comeback. Now, I used to have a dog, and he used to like to sleep on my leg, and he was heavy. He was a little 15-pound dog, but he was pushing against my leg all night. I didn't like that, but he was happy. Okay. Then we got a big dog that I don't like, and I don't want him in my room. I don't want him on my bed. Then we had a little dog that was fat, and she couldn't even get on the bed, so she didn't really care. My wife does not like dogs sleeping on the bed, so I don't like dogs sleeping on the bed that much. So I think it doesn't matter in terms of sleep for me. It's in terms of I find it kind of gross. I like dogs. Don't get me wrong. I just don't really want to sleep next to one. Myth or fact, exercising in the evening will disrupt sleep. Well, it says that's a myth that used to be a fact in the olden days. Now the data shows that any exercise at any time is better than not exercising at all due to the medical benefits. And it helps with stress reduction, which aids sleep. The data about not exercising is when you're doing extreme workouts like Olympic athlete type exercises. The guy says, if you ask me when the perfect time to exercise, I think it's going to be in the morning and outside in daylight. It resets the circadian rhythm and starts the day off with vigor. But if nighttime exercise is best for you, that's fine. So this is one of those things. I have to kind of wind down in my thought. I have to wind down to sleep. So I have to wind down. I do that by doing some light reading, not moving around a bunch. If I say, if I were to do something that was like mentally stimulating, then I would be a mess. I wouldn't be able to get to sleep. I already have to try really hard to wind down at night, to not be thinking about 30 million things. So exercise, I don't know. I don't like the idea of sweating and then going to bed. That's gross. And then myth or fact, you can catch up on sleep on the weekends. Who doesn't believe this one? Sadly, the science says we're wrong. We may feel better after sleeping in on a Saturday or Sunday morning, but it will be the detriment to our overall sleep health. By changing your wake-up time and your bedtime on weekends, sleep rhythms aren't predictable, which can alter the body's rhythm. You want to build a reliable rhythm, much like the drummer counting the beat for the band. By controlling when you wake up and go to bed, you're setting the beat. Overcome this myth by going to bed and getting up at the same time each day, even on the weekends. Vacations at night, or weekends vacations, or after a night of poor sleep. The brain likes regularity and predictability. Waking up the same time every day and then adding light and movement as soon as you wake up will set your other rhythms for the day and give you increased energy and mood. Check out more sleep. I'm not going to do that. So it just didn't really, like, to me, I'm not going to lie, I just don't feel like that did anything for me. Like, as I'm speaking with you right now, reading that article did not do anything for me. Like, I'm not making any changes to my routine. I mean, it just didn't work. But hopefully it helped one of you out there. And if it just helped one of you, then I've made a difference today. Irving, Texas. Have you ever been? I don't know where Irving, Texas is, and I don't want to look it up. But they have some nice homes. I thought we should take a look at them. Here's the first one. It's $3.75 million. 98 days on Realtor.com. Three-car garage. Built in 1990. Property history. Last listed in 2021. Listing removed in 2022. But it's been added, so we're good. What do they do in Texas for the description? Oh, nice. This elegant and stately 3-story home has 8,721 square feet of living space, featuring 6 bedrooms, 8.5 bathrooms, expansive gourmet kitchen, 2 game rooms, media room. It says 2 game rooms, media room, and multiple balconies. No expense was spared from the 16-foot iron door that greets you to the imported Italian marble flooring throughout the home. A few of the unique features of the home include a completely glass-encased architectural focal point wine cellar in the heart of the home and an oasis in the backyard with an outdoor kitchen. The primary suite hosts 2 large bathrooms with spacious custom closets featuring multiple dressing areas, room for entertaining guests, and a large home gym or office area. Don't miss this incredible home. So what that's telling us is we're going to see a wine cellar in the middle of the house. What that's telling us is there's, like they said, a 16-foot iron door. And I believe that's it right there. So let's take a look. 39 pictures. Love it. Those are balconies. There you go. There's your Italian marble. I do not want that in my house. As much as I'm appreciative of those who have it, I mean, I want hardwood floors, and that's just the way I roll. I mean, nice, right? There's their kitchen. A little modern. I think the wine rack is right there, which to me shouldn't be the focal point since it's just under the staircase. That's an interesting washer and dryer setup. So I'm just telling you, I would prefer hardwood floor and not carpet anywhere. I don't know what this is. It's like an upstairs kitchenette. It's an interesting house. It has features. I want to go outside. Oh, okay. So it's really close to the house, but there's your pool. I mean, it's on almost a 1/4 acre lot. So, I mean, we're not talking a lot of space. What is this fan up here? Or no, that's a projector for the main room. Well, there you go. I mean, it's close. Your backyard is essentially a pool, which is fine. All right, $3.75 million. Good luck with that. Let's look at this one, $2.4 million. It says it's got 40 pictures. It's a 4-bedroom, 4.5 bath, 6,500 square feet on a 0.39 acre lot. So a little bit like a third of an acre. Let's go with that. Property history, listed in 2021. Listed in November of 2021. Details, remodeled house with all new appliances and HVAC in the heart of the Metroplex. Open concept with high ceilings and new hand-scraped hardwood and marble flooring throughout. Huge master, chef's kitchen, wet bar area with California doors that open up to the heated pool. This stunning home with exceptional entertaining possibilities is one you don't want to miss. Highly sought after community in the gated Cottonwood Valley with 24-hour security access from Four Seasons. Exceptional lot with unique privacy. I don't think it's exceptional myself. And let me just go on a tangent here. Hand scraped hardwood flooring. Anybody that would have to do that, like any poor worker anywhere in the world, I don't think that's a thing that we should be celebrating. I would be fine with random machine scraped hardwood flooring. And you say, well, I mean, it would be cheaper. And I mean, think about all the workplace injuries from hand scraping. So yeah, I'm not into that. It's a very nice Very clean looking house. I really hate those. I hate these chairs. I always have. I don't like them. They got the covers over them. It's just terrible. Nice fireplace, or an interesting fireplace. I don't know the weather there, so that kitchen is very modern. And I don't like this space here. This space is for a trash can, I believe, or a wine cellar. But regardless, it's empty looking and I don't like it. It's an interesting room. I do like this island here where the marble wraps around. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, it's not, and there's your pool. So you have one. It's a pretty house, right? It's just not for me. You get that a lot. Nice tile work, though. I mean, you're on like a corner lot. You can drive right like that and cut through. I don't think that's really a great lot. This is my opinion. Okay, one more. That's new construction. We don't care about that. Here we go. The Realty Associates, $1 million. Let's go 1.1. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, 3,400 square feet. I mean, not 28 days on the market. Property history listed in 2022 in February, and they've got a price change. So good for them. Let me check the chat. I haven't checked the chat. Well, okay. Here we go. 30 pictures. I can do that. Oh, is there something that I want to read here on the details? Impeccably maintained stately home in the coveted gated Fairway Vista neighborhood, featuring golf cart access to the Four Seasons Golf and Sports Club, positioned perfectly next to a green belted fountain in this next gen and virus secured community. I don't know what that means. This home offers soaring ceilings, elegant hardwood floors, but are they hand scraped? And walls of windows overlooking the sparkling pool. Thus sparkling, there should be a space there, and fountain. That's one thing. Descriptions need to be better across the United States. And what I mean by that is like, check the spelling before you post it, and check the punctuation. Now, have I ever made a mistake? Yes, obviously, but I try to correct them. That's an interesting office. Here's what's sad is there's a TV that belongs right there because they've got all the stuff there, but there's no TV. It's kind of sad. This is someone's moved out of this house. It's empty. Would virtual staging have helped this house? Possibly. And where did these people go? I always like to know where people went. Where did they go? This is an odd place there. I don't like tile countertops. I'm just going to put that out there. It's not something that... There's this little small pool. Apparently this is a thing. You make a very small pool. And there's a golf course, I guess, right there, which I don't know if I particularly want that. I think that's a yucca plant, but I don't know. I don't think it was a hosta. Anyway, that's the last house. I don't know, Irving, Texas, whatever. It is what it is. Let's get to an article. 944. We've got 2 articles. This will allow me to keep the same title for our same title for our live stream. You stretch. Study breaks down 2022 property tax rates by state. Says, as the cliche goes, the only things you can count on are death and taxes. But according to a recent study from Wallet Hub, which I tried to go to and couldn't find, some states are feeling the crunch of the latter more than the others. The study found that the average American household spends $2,471 on real estate property taxes, plus another $445 for residents of the 27 states that levy vehicle property taxes. I think we have vehicle property taxes in St. Louis and Missouri, and it's different than our real estate tax. Anyway, according to the survey, top 10 states with the highest real estate tax rates are. These are the tax rates. This is not the not property tax. So we have personal property tax, which is like a boat or a car. And then we have property tax, which is like the house. Anyway, I spend way more than that, and my house isn't that nice on property tax, real estate tax. We're at like $3,200 a year. I said, so it says, anyway, according to the survey, the top 10 with the highest real estate tax rates are New Jersey, Illinois, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Vermont, Wisconsin, Texas, Nebraska, New York, and Rhode Island. It says states that levy a vehicle property tax are, and we're there in Missouri. I don't want to go through all 27. Of these states, the 10 with the highest vehicle tax are, and then they did that, which, it says Missouri, we're number 4. You need to ask yourself, in Missouri, like, why are we being taxed so much? We're told that we live in a place where the cost of living is low, but think about how much lower it would be if we weren't taxed to death. And our roads suck. So I don't want to hear about how that's great. Now, it says key findings. While the New Jersey has the highest property tax, Hawaii has the lowest. Virginia has the highest vehicle property tax. Louisiana has the lowest. Blue states have an average. I don't like to do this blue states, red states thing. Not good. Blue states have 31.12% of higher real. I'm sorry. Blue states have 31.12% higher real estate property taxes, averaging $2,722, than red states, averaging $2,000. And I believe we would be in a red state now. I believe. And I'm telling you, it's expensive here. According to the National Tax Lien Association, more than 14 billion of these taxes go unpaid every year. That's kind of funny. It says experts answer questions. Lindsay Rollhauser and sister professor for the University of Connecticut and Gary Forshner, offered their professional opinions on this data. Well, I don't know who they are. Like, as far as, are they like John Schenck, real estate broker at Deerwood Realty? It says, do people consider property taxes when deciding where to move, and should they? It says, people looking, now both of these people answered the question somehow. Here, at least they got it. Who said it? It says, people looking to buy homes in a community absolutely do consider the property tax rate. The property tax rate, in most cases, is a representation of the level of public services available in a community. If households are considering some seemingly similar suburban municipalities, the differentiating feature may be the level of services. Well, I don't look at it that way, but okay. Some households may value the bundle of service to the property tax expense represents, other may not. It is an especially important consideration for households with children, as the local school system is primarily funded through local taxes. Okay. She added, the financial decision of whether or not to purchase real estate needs to consider the entire bundle of costs associated with the home purchase and ownership. Those that do not consider property taxes do so at their peril. Unfortunately, property taxes are all too often overlooked by home buyers when considering whether or not to purchase real estate. Real estate taxes vary significantly from one town to another and from one state to another, sometimes by multiples. Lenders consider all major home ownership expenses, including mortgage payments, mortgage insurance premiums, homeowners insurance, homeowners association fees, and property tax amongst the most significant. Home buyers should be well advised to evaluate all these expenses as well. Now, this is an interesting argument. The argument here is the higher taxes provide greater services for its citizens. I would argue that that has no relevance to the actual service of the citizens. Now, one thing I'd like to mention that's not a tax, but something that I find very fascinating is in St. Louis City, the sewer lateral. You are responsible from the tube, which is the lateral from your home, all the way out to the street. That's on you. In the county, we have a sewer lateral repair program for most areas. It is not on you. It's not your problem. It's a problem. You have to get 3 estimates and then you have to get it taken care of. But that's on the county. This is a big deal. One sewer issue could really, really cause havoc. So, I don't know. It says, should certain groups, what I'm saying is there's plenty of expensive homes in St. Louis City, and there's plenty of expensive homes in St. Louis County. The level of service between the two based on the sewer lateral alone is not enough to make a decision for most home buyers. Unless they get in that situation, then they're like, oh, yeah, this is terrible. Should certain groups of people be exempt from property tax or taxed at a lower rate? An important aspect of local property taxation is many communities have a property tax classification. This is where a community has different tax rates for various property types. Under this scenario, communities can adjust the tax burden away from homeowners and towards commercial and property owners and industrial property owners. And is that okay? Is that pro-business? Is that a good thing to do? This can be problematic when done in the extreme, as commercial and industrial property owners also consider tax rates at their location choices, especially in suburban areas. Further, they are less likely to benefit from public services provided in the community unless they are also residents of the community. A disproportionate tax burden on non-residential property can discourage business activity. Absolutely. However, this is less true in urban areas where businesses are more inelastic in their sensitivity to tax costs, as the benefits of being centrally located may outweigh the costs. But rising downtown land values and building owners passing through the higher tax payments to commercial renters can cause an increase in vacancies. Absolutely. When someone tells you that it's not going to cost you, they're lying. It will. That's like, we're going to build a stadium and we're going to use a hotel tax. Well, people are just not going to want to live there. And you say, or go there or visit there. And you say, well, that's okay. But I don't think it is. I mean, we're not like Florida. We don't have a huge tourist base. No one's coming to St. Louis, Missouri for to watch the Mississippi River. It's just not something that people do. Should it be something people do? I don't know. Need to be a lot of work done. Let's put it that way. That being said, I don't think we should discourage tourism by having high hotel tax rates. That's just me. It says some states and local jurisdictions exempt certain groups from property taxes in whole or parts, such as seniors or veterans. While this is equitable, reduced or waived property taxes should be considered. Yeah, absolutely. So if you're a senior citizen and they do waive taxes because you're older, move there. 100%. That's an incentive for you. Is it smart? Is it right? Is it good? They say it's equitable. I disagree, but that's just the way we look at things. In the decades past, the poverty rate amongst seniors was amongst the most highest in the nation. Social Security went a long way to resolve that, but many of our seniors are still unable to provide basic needs unable to provide basic needs if, for instance, they only qualify for basic Social Security. Reduced taxes for groups that are traditionally lower income may be necessary to reduce poverty, and where the income reflects that need, lower property taxes benefit not only the individual but their families and communities as well. Well, that's the way you think. That's totally fine. I went here, I think. I just didn't like the way it was set up or something. Should local tax policy be adjusted to rely more or less on property taxes versus other form of taxation? Local taxes relying upon property is a regressive tax. In other words, poor and working class families typically pay significant more of their income for housing than those of greater means, and therefore property taxes fall more on lower and middle class households. Moreover, when local communities rely exclusively or substantially on property taxes, lower income communities often struggle to provide critical service otherwise available in wealthier communities, when in many cases, lower income communities have a greater need for certain services such as police and social services. This to me is a little racist, and it's also like economic something or other, because you can be poor and not need police. I reject the idea that crime and income are related at this point. Now, punishment for crime of the poor versus those who are of means is absolutely one way, and you know which it is. But anyway, the better policy is to spread taxes for services such as schools, infrastructure maintenance and expansion, snow and trash removal over a broader and more equitable base. I don't know about that. Many urban economists, which I don't have any faith in, will instead point to the need for a land value tax in place of, or complementary to, it would always be complementary to, never be in place of, a property tax. This form of taxation encourages the development of land to its highest and best use. Redevelopment of a single-family home into multifamily may not take place due to the increased property tax expense. Under a land value tax, the owner is not taxed on the structure, so would not face the additional burden if they redeveloped to the highest and best use. The main idea here is that this form of taxation would encourage the building of additional housing in denser forms, which in turn can contribute to the increasing the supply of more affordable housing. This is absolutely insanity. Don't believe that. All this is going to do is make everybody live in a rental. Okay, that isn't good. Of course, this regards that zoning allows for such redevelopment, but many communities are slowing considering the harms that exclusionary zoning, strict single-family zoning, has on its residents and prospective residents, and relaxing some of their strictest zoning regulations. But we just disagree. We just disagree, you know. Ooh. That's funny. I just got an email from somebody. So I disagree with the article for the most part. I do think that people do take it under consideration, but not nearly as much as these people do. And then the idea that we're going to argue for a tax on land, and just come on. Everyone's going to game it the way they do now. Buying a home, don't forget to ask these questions. I believe I did a podcast episode on this week, but it wasn't from this article. It was from a different article. The same themes come up often in real estate media. It says, buying a home comes with a lot of responsibilities and liabilities. When you buy a home, you're stuck with it until after you sell it successfully. Because of this, you must take extra precaution and try to ask as many important questions as possible before you close on a deal with a seller or broker. Below are the questions you shouldn't forget to ask when buying a home. Okay. Can I have a copy of the home's sales history? It's important to know how many times this home has changed hands over the years, as well as much of the home sold for each time. This will let you know about your prospective property value fluctuations, which can help you sell the home and negotiate fairly in the future. That's bizarre. Now, do I look up tax records to see who owns the property and how long? Do I check the seller's disclosure for ownership history? Yes. But I don't need to ask them for that. What is the cost of monthly and annual utility maintenance? No one wants a home that racks up utility bills as though the owners are made of money. Water, power, and gas bills should be disclosed, as well as annual maintenance costs for you to gauge if you can truly afford the home. You can ask. I've asked oftentimes, and you know what I get? We'll get that to you. Do I get it? No. No one gives out this information, and it's not because they don't. It's not because they don't want to, or that they're worried that you're going to get an advantage. It's because it's a pain in the butt. The seller doesn't normally keep it, and it just doesn't happen. How much is the property tax? Again, if you're working with a real estate agent, they're looking up the tax, a good one. They're looking up the tax records, and they'll tell you what they paid for in tax last year. It says, although the home's value is primarily determined on the property tax, knowing how much the current owners are paying is a good way to determine future expenses on the property. Well, they're always going to go up. They're always going to go up, and we can give you the last 3 years on the tax return, or on the tax records in my system, and that's what I do. Does the house have an unusual history? Has it been involved in a crime? Well, a history of suicide, murder, or death should be disclosed by the broker or seller, unless it's against the law to do so, which that would be true in St. Louis, or at least Missouri. We don't have to disclose any of these things. We're not required to. Unusual history, like appearing in a magazine, commercial, or movie, should be disclosed as well. Home appearing in public media may mean a future privacy breach, and a negative history can make a home difficult to sell in the future. Well, I always tell my buyers, Google that address. See what comes up. It says, when was the roof last replaced? A roof replacement could cost upwards of $10,000. The future homeowner should know when a huge expense like this may be due. Well, they do have a disclosure. I'm just going to say that the same thing I always say. They disclose that if they don't have any idea how long the roof has been up there, they say 15 years. I don't know why the people choose 15 years, but that's the time that they choose. And the average roof lasts maybe 20 years, maybe 25 years is stretching it. A lot of people, what they'll do is say that there's hail damage and try to get a roof replaced by their insurance company. So whatever. One time, my wife, they wanted us to replace the roof on her house, and I was like, not going to happen. Not going to happen. And so they took it, and then maybe they'll get a new roof sometime. They should have. It was a terrible roof. Does the area around it, but they also got a pretty good deal on the house. Does the area around the property come with parking restrictions? Whether or not the home has a garage, it's possible that future visitors may need to park outside of the property. When this happens, the last thing you want is for your guest vehicles to get towed away. Absolutely. Absolutely. But, like in St. Louis, this doesn't typically cause the problems that you would think. It ends up being more like say in the Central West End, there's no place to park. There's no restrictions. It's just you're being kept from parking. Are there ongoing warranties for the kitchen appliances, garage door, the HVAC system, and more? Replacing any of the above can cost, you can get your own warranty when you're closing on the house. Are there renovations or additions made by past and current owners? Upgrades can cost a lot. It's best to know which contractors worked in the house before and what they did more. So if planning future additions or renovations doesn't ever come up. Are there any issues with sewage or broken pipes? Although you can hire home inspectors, best to know these issues beforehand. Well, so that the cost of repairs for these issues can be equivalent to a sizable amount. I don't even understand that. Any issues with sewage or broken pipes? I mean, you look at the disclosure, you get a sewer camera, and that's what you do. Are there past or current pest infestations? Getting rid of rodent or insect infestations can incur a lot of time and money. Something like this needs to be disclosed rather than find out when it's too late. Well, I kind of agree with that. But what if they don't know? I mean, what are you saying is an infestation? Like, do you have a mouse? I mean, and I'll just put it on my house. There's a squirrel or something that lives in the attic when I moved in. They didn't disclose that. It might be mice. I don't know. Anyway, I don't have a mice problem anymore because I took care of it. It wasn't that expensive, maybe $100. I did it myself. Does that make me a bad person? I don't know. I didn't like mice running around my house. You say, how do you take care of it? I got the little mouse houses, the hotels. You fill it with stuff. It seems to work fine. That's what I did. So, I mean, we're at the end of the show. You can tell that because I'm down here in the, I'm down here in the base frame, which is no frame. Go out there and get after it today. Good luck. I don't know how I'm going to get everything done that I need to, but I'm going to make an effort. And I'm a little worried. My hard drive is making a noise. It's not great. But anyway, look, it's going to be a good day. It's Friday.